I'm going to try and be as respectful as my autistic brain allows me to be, despite the fact this person deliberately misrepresented me and tried to make me out to be something I'm not.
Yes, that's right. It's because of the skin colour.
I'm getting racial saviour vibes because this guy himself is the same complexion as me. Already tells me everything I need to know about someone if they begin their argument with that statement.
For Afghanistan and Syrians, the vast majority can't apply like the Ukrainians, and we're threatening to send them.
I've seen a lot of people making this argument, and it's true. And there is a very simple reason why there is a safe route for Ukrainians. It may have escaped your notice that Ukraine is currently being bombed by Russia. Military forces are actually marching across borders and taking over areas. Bombs are raining down from the skies. Territory is actually changing hands. This was, funnily enough, one of the points I was making in the original video. For non-Ukrainians, the asylum policy works like this. Right at the gateway, you have to claim asylum the second you step foot in the country, whether it's via the embassy or whether you came over on a visa. And people do this. And when you do this, you bring your identity documents with you. You don't chuck them in the sea, which is what many of the ones crossing the channel were doing. And as I said in the original video, there is currently no war going on in Iran, which is where most of these people are coming from. There is also no war in France. There are many countries between the Middle East and the UK. In many instances, their asylum applications have been rejected in other countries, and so they try it here as well. And when they get rejected, they disappear off of the radar. So it's not that I'm not listening. It's the simple fact that I'm questioning whether or not these people are legitimate or not, or they're just taking the piss. They are mostly young fighting age men. And I've seen many people make the arguments that these guys are just trying to find a place to work so that they can send money back to their family. Well, then they're not refugees, and therefore they don't qualify for asylum. Your best route then is doing what my nan did back in the 60s, which again is to emigrate from one country to another, bring your documents, and we'll see what we have for you. Don't chuck them in the sea. And I also love how you're completely glossing over this.
People off of buildings, crucifixions on...
Did you honestly think I was going to let this slide? Because now you're being dishonest and deliberately trying to misrepresent me. Anybody who follows me will know that I am completely against any form of war, regardless of who it is happening to. And those 3 seconds that you conveniently clipped out, I was talking about Saudi Arabia. Because for some reason, the West these days prides itself on how open and inclusive and diverse and tolerant it is, while at the same time aligning themselves with and turning a blind eye to, and in some cases selling arms to countries that punish and outlaw the very things that they pride themselves on, such as Saudi Arabia. While at the same time, governments are selling arms to Saudi Arabia so they can carpet bomb Yemen with. That was the argument I was making. You have to take it out of context because you've got socialist in your bio and you've got an agenda to push. You have to make it out that I'm somehow pushing far-right rhetoric and I'm in favour of what's going on in Yemen. Because anything to the right of Joseph Stalin to you is far-right. And the ultimate irony being that the day before I uploaded the very video you're critiquing, I made the point that it's very weird that the West is helping Ukraine with their war and not Yemen. While also making the point that the reason why the West turns a blind eye to Yemen is because Saudi Arabia is the one that's bombing it. Disavow.
Everything to do with the legal process. For example, Ukrainian refugees not throwing away their passports.
So it doesn't matter that it's on video that these guys are throwing their phones and their passports into the sea. What matters is its far-right rhetoric. It's not far-right rhetoric to say that there is a problem. There is a serious problem with young fighting-age men coming from countries that are not at war, travelling across multiple safe countries, applying for asylum there, getting rejected, and then paying people traffickers to smuggle them across the channel over dangerous seas where they could potentially get killed so that they can sneak into the UK with no passports, no way of identifying who they are so that they can try and claim asylum. Do you not see this as a problem? Because I certainly do. People have died trying to do this. As I said earlier on, there were plenty of countries between the UK and Iran. And it's about time people stop pretending that the UK was the only country out of 190 other countries that are safe. It's not like North Koreans sneaking across the border to China. These guys are travelling across an entire continent. And again, like I said in the video, the Rwanda scheme is focusing on the single men arriving on boats or lorries, many of whom have been housed in hotels up and down the UK. They've actually been housed in a hotel in my town. Not women and children. And something needs to be done to deter this. You potentially stop people from drowning and you encourage them to take it seriously and bring their documents instead of throwing them into the sea. Why are they doing that? But I shouldn't be surprised you're being dishonest to me. Because all you've been doing is throwing baseless accusations at me, character assassination, openly misrepresenting what I've said, labelling people who challenge you as racists, and when I try to respectfully set the record straight by commenting back, you just delete the comments. So I've opted to make this video instead. And don't worry, I will be putting it on all of my platforms.